Hey guys, how you guys doing? I'm live, so I think it's lesson time. Let's do guitar lesson. Okay, let me think here. Let me think what I'm doing here. Yeah, I want to do a guitar lesson. First of all, the ways to break up an octave, or another way of saying it, every possible interval extended to its limit. Start with an octave isn't an interval. You only have one note. But the simplest next thing to a note is an interval, and the symmetrical interval is a tritone. So it's 6 half steps. So starting on an open string, go to the 6th fret and go to the 12th fret. It's called the tritone because it's exactly half an octave. There's 6 whole tones in an octave. So if it's half an octave, it's 3 whole tones, and hence tritone. Whole tone, whole tone, whole tone is one way of looking at it. What's interesting is if you alter it by one note, sharp or flat, you get a good chord. Watch this. So I have an E and a B flat. It's a tritone. Or B flat and E. Sharp the B flat to a B, and now suddenly you have a power chord. That's just a tritone with with one note sharpened. Gives you the most common and familiar dyad there is, which is a power chord. Alternatively, you can flatten that fifth, the tritone, to make it a fourth, which is an inversion of the fifth. Same idea. So most useful dyads come from sharpening one note or flattening a note in a tritone. I think that's very interesting. And they don't tend to teach you that kind of thing at music school. They tend to make you figure that stuff out yourself. I would know because I took fundamentals of music in college, and they didn't help me with rock and roll very much. Okay, next is a 3-note symmetrical thing. I call it an augmented triad. 3 major thirds stacked. I like the sound of it, actually. I do. If you raise a note in it, you get a minor triad, I believe. Yeah, you get a minor triad. Any one of the notes raised in an augmented triad gives you a minor triad. There's one here. So I took an E augmented triad, raised the C to a C sharp, and voila, I have a C sharp minor triad. Now, if you flatten a note in the augmented triad, let's say the G sharp to a G, you have a major triad. Any of the notes flatted gives you a major triad. I took an E augmented triad, E, G sharp, C, and E, and I flatted the G sharp to G, and I got G, C, E. That's a C major triad. So just like the tritone, sharpen gives you a power chord, flatten gives you an inversion of a power chord. An augmented triad with the note sharpened gives you minor triad. An augmented triad with the note flattened gives you major triad. I like the symmetry of all that. And that works universally. I mean, no matter what you do. Any augmented triad, sharp a note, you get a minor triad. Flat a note, you get a major triad. Tritone, sharp one, you get a fifth, and flat one, you get a fourth. Both are good diodes / power chords. What's next? Diminished seventh arpeggio. That's minor thirds, 4 of them. E, G, B flat, C sharp, and E. It's an E diminished seventh arpeggio. I'm going to flatten one of the notes, and I'm going to flatten the C sharp to C, and voila, voila, I have this. I have a C dominant seventh chord. Just by flattening one of the notes of a diminished seventh arpeggio. So start with a E diminished seventh. Flat the C. Flat the C sharp to C, and you get a C dominant seventh chord. Flatten any one of the notes of a diminished seventh arpeggio, you get a dominant seventh chord. How about sharpening one of the notes? See that? Here's an E diminished seventh arpeggio. Let's sharp one of them and see what you get. You get I sharpen the C sharp to D. You get a half diminished seventh chord, or minor 7 flat 5. By sharpening any one note of a diminished seventh arpeggio. Works for me. I kind of like that. I'd like it even more if I were a jazz dude, but whatever. Now, we only got a couple more to go. Actually, got 3 more to go, really. But 2 of those 3 are not symmetric. Are not symmetrical with 12 tones, but the last one is. Whole tone scale. 6 whole tones. Whole tone, whole tone, whole tone, whole tone, whole tone, whole tone. Okay, now it's getting a little tougher. I'm going to flatten a note and then add a note to it just for fun. Let's say I take an E whole tone scale, E, F sharp, G sharp, B flat, C, D, E. Oh, I think I can read music now that I'm as good as notes as I am. I can just recite notes on the neck. It's just a matter of reading them on the staff and playing on the guitar. I'm getting closer to being able to read music. Being able to read music, I'm getting closer, I think. Whatever. E, F sharp, G sharp, B flat, C, D, E. Flat the F sharp to F. and add a G sharp just for fun, a G sharp just for fun. What do you have now? You started with an E whole tone scale. You flatted the ninth from the F sharp to F. You added a G sharp to make it 7 notes instead of 6. And what do you get? You get this. That is an E enigmatic mode. That's all you did. Just take a whole tone scale, flat one of the notes, and add a note. And you get an enigmatic mode. Not done yet. Sharp one of the notes. Got it. Start with E whole tone. E, F sharp, G sharp, B flat, C, D, E. I'm going to sharp one of the notes this time. The F sharp to G. And I'm going to add another note again. I'm going to add an A note. What do you have now? You have an E Wiseman scary scale. It's augmented step, half step, half step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step. It's a mode. It's a mode of the negative harmony of the enigmatic mode. If you take the negative harmony of an enigmatic mode and play it starting on the right note, the correct note, you get an E Wiseman scary scale. It's very related to the enigmatic mode. Same idea. Just they're negative harmonies of each other, at least modes of negative harmonies of each other. So augment step, half step, half step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step. That's the Wiseman scary scale. Not quite as good as the enigmatic mode, but it's close. Okay, and then the only other intervals you have in music that you can make sequences out of is the circle of fifths / circle of fourths and the chromatic scale. Other than that, that's it. You have whole tones, i.e. whole tone scale, tritone, i.e. tritone, major thirds, i.e. augmented triad, minor thirds, i.e. diminished seventh arpeggio or chord, chromatic scale, and circle of fourths / circle of fifths. That's it. That's all possibilities you have in music. So chromatic scale and the circle of fifths has been documented. I didn't invent either one of them. But what's interesting is all the other four possibilities combined with chromatic scale and the circle of fifths, you can get a lot of expression out of your 12 tones. So there's that. Anything else I want to say while I'm here? Let me think. Anything else while I'm here? Let me think here. Yeah, okay. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say. Don't forget your 4 primary main inversions of 7-note scale that don't have diminished thirds or augmented thirds. You've got major scale, melodic minor, which is a major scale with a flat third. Or Dorian mode with the raised seventh, however you look at it. Harmonic minor, which is an Aeolian mode with the raised seventh. Harmonic nature, which is a major scale with a flat sixth. forget the reverse and symmetry between pentatonic and diatonic in circle of fifths and circle of fourths. If you start with an A major scale, and go up a fourth with it, you have to flatten a note, because if you go up a fourth and don't flatten a note, you get a D Dorian. I mean a D Lydian. And Lydian is in the major scale. You got to flatten one of the notes, and then you B flat. So now, if you go up a fourth with the major scale, you have to flatten one of the notes. Back to the A. If I go up a fifth with the major scale, I have to sharpen one of the notes. The reason being, because if I go up a fifth without sharpening or flattening anything, I get an E mixolydian mode. Make that an E major, I got to sharp the F sharp. So to go up a fifth with the major scale, you have to sharpen one of the notes. Hence, so if I sharpen the F sharp, the F to F sharp, I get, let me make sure I did that right. Well, it's F to F sharp if you're in C. Actually, if you're in A, it would not be F sharp. It would be, let's see, if you're in A major and I go up to D, I would have D Lydian. I have G sharp. I have to flatten the G sharp to G to make a D major scale. So I have one sharp with this G to make a D. Go up a fourth. But if I go up a fifth, I have a D that needs to go to D sharp. That would make it an E major scale, which is an A major scale up a fifth, but I had to sharpen one of the notes. Hence, clockwise around the circle of fifths, sharpens for diatonic scales, and counterclockwise around the circle of fifths, flattens for 7 note diatonic scales. So here's an E major scale. Which has one more sharp than the A major scale. Now that's common knowledge to some degree. I don't know, but a lot of people probably know that. But less people probably know that the reverse is true for pentatonics. If I take an A minor pentatonic scale, A minor pentatonic scale, and I go up a fourth, I would normally, if I don't do anything, I get a flat note. Therefore, if I want to go up a fourth in pentatonic, I have to sharpen one of the notes to get a D minor pentatonic scale. I had to sharpen the E to an F. So going up a fourth pentatonic is actually sharpening, whereas if you go up a fourth with diatonic, you're flattening. So there's symmetry there. There's a what do you call that when you have complementary action? One way with one thing, and the other way is that way with the first thing, but the second thing it's that way is the opposite, and the other way is the opposite also. There's a complementary yin and yang between pentatonic and diatonic. I don't think most people understand or learn because it's not taught in schools and it's not in that many books as far as I know. But let's go back to the A minor pentatonic scale. If I go up a fifth, If I don't do anything, I sharpen the note. If I want to go up and make a minor pentatonic, I have to flatten the note, and that's going up a fifth. So to go up in pentatonic, to go up a fifth, you have to flatten. In pentatonic, to go up a fourth, you have to sharpen. In diatonic, to go up a fifth, you have to sharpen. In the diatonic, to go up a fourth, you have to flatten. It's the opposite. So it's good to know that stuff. Yeah, it's good to know that. And then there's triads and seventh chords, which have a kind of complementary relationship too. You want to hear that? Yeah, triads are mainly major and minor triads are the primary triads are major and minor because they both have a perfect fifth. Whereas the main seventh chords, primary ones, are minor seventh, major seventh, and dominant seventh because they all have a perfect fifth from the root. So dominant seventh, major seventh, and minor seventh all have a perfect fifth above the root. You get into other types of seventh chords and they don't. Like a diminished seventh has a diminished fifth. Half diminished seventh also has a diminished fifth. That sounded the same to me. It's not though. It's not. It can't be. This is a diminished seventh. This is a half diminished seventh. You gotta have a fine ear to know the difference. And then the major seven sharp five, of course, will have an augmented fifth and not a perfect fifth. Let's see if I can even play that sucker. I know ways I can play it if I can't do it this way. Sharp fifth. The minor major seven also has a perfect fifth, but we don't usually use that. It's a weird chord. It's technically a perfect chord, but it's a weirdo. Let's play it though, just for the heck of it. You'd want a minor third. So you want a minor third. That would be here. Yeah, here's a minor major seven. Strange sound. A lot like the major seven sharp five because they're negative harmonies of each other. And then of course the diminished seven, minus 7.5 or half diminished seven. Those are the four main seventh chords that aren't used that much. The main ones that are, like I said, are the minor seventh, dominant seventh, and major seventh. But we don't live in a perfect world. You have to use everything. You have to use all the, like in triads, you have major and minor. Major and minor. But you also have diminished. And you have augmented. It's not a perfect world. You have to use those too. But mainly, if you had to choose, you'd pick major and minor for your triads, and you'd pick major seventh, dominant seventh for your seventh chords if you had to choose. So why am I bringing that up? Well, the movement of those chords is interesting. I've talked about this before, but it doesn't make it not true if I say it again, LOL, right? Take an A major triad. Okay. Now I'm going to go up to D major, back down to A major. But I can do that voice leading wise like this. As you can see, that D major to A major, which is down a fourth, is a down leader. So up a fifth or down a fourth in triads is a down leader. We don't like that sound as much as we like up leading sound. We just don't. Amen cadence. Amen. It's okay, but it's not great. It's not the greatest. It's great, but not the greatest. The greater one is A major and then E major. Now that's A major to E major is up a fifth and down a fifth. Well, that is an up leader because E is this chord. Going to A is an up leader. So A major to E major, up. So down a fifth or up a fourth is up leader in triads. So you want to go down a fifth or up a fourth, same thing, to get an up leader. Whereas you want to go down a fourth or up a fifth to get a down leader. It takes both, but the main one is the up leader, down a fifth, up a fourth, as opposed to up a fourth or down a fourth or up a fifth. Right, I think that's what I meant. 4-1, 4 down a fourth. Yeah, it's down a fourth or up a fifth. Yeah, because D up to A is up a fifth. But D, yeah, but it's also down a fourth. So down a fourth is down leading. Down a fifth is up leading. So we take note of that. If you want to really sound good, go down a fifth. If you want to sound go down a fourth. It takes both, but one is stronger than the other. One is the fifth and one's the fourth. Why am I bringing this up? Because it's all, and by the way, the same is true of minor triads too. Minor triads, same thing. I think you guys take my word for it. Take an A minor, D minor, that's down. If you do down a fourth, that's down. But if you go up to E minor, you go up. If you go down a fifth. Triad? I believe it is. No, you usually use a fifth. It's a major triad in minor harmony because you're usually using the harmonic minor scale, but I didn't do that just now, did I? But for dominant seventh chords, it reverses. The up-downness changes with the fourth and fifth. Let me show you. If I take an A dominant seventh, arpeggio chord, go up a fourth, I get so down from a fourth to a root to a tonic, down a fourth is up. But it wasn't with triads. It was down a fifth was up and down a fourth was down. But with seventh chords, down a fourth is up. So I go from 4 to 1. That's down a fourth, and I go up. It's the 5 that's the problem with the dominant seventh. I go from 5 down a fifth. I go downward. So down a fifth is downward, down a fourth is upward. So the functionality of dominant and subdominant as related to tonic is reversed in seventh chords as it is in triads. It just is. Up, down a fourth in seventh chords is up, down a fifth is down. Triads. Down a fifth is down, down a fifth is up, so it reverses. So the importance of the different degrees changes depending on if you're using triads or if you're using seventh chords. And the 4 types of music I've outlined is my own theory: jazz, classical, blues, and country that mix up the possibilities of using triads, seventh chords, diatonic scales, and pentatonic scales. Show this. The blues uses pentatonic scales, which is simplistic melody-wise, but uses seventh chord, which is complex harmony-wise. And because we like to hear up stuff, because fourth down to fourth is up, you hear a lot more 4 chords in blues than you do 5 chords. You don't hear 5 chords that much. You only hear them in two out of the 12 bars are 5 chords. All the other 10 out of 12 are either 1s or 4s. A lot more 1s and 4s than there are 5s, because we don't like to hear the down sound, the descending voices sound. We don't like it as much. Whereas in classical music, the authentic cadence is 5-1. We want to hear 5-1. We want to hear all the 5-1s. You want to hear that 5-1 because it goes up. So we have a lot more 5s than 4s in classical music, but a lot more 4s than 5s in blues music because of the chord structures used. And like I've said, jazz uses diatonic scales and seventh chords, the most complex of each. Classical uses simple chords or triads, but complex scales, diatonic scales. Blues does the opposite, uses simple scales, pentatonics, but uses complex chords, seventh chords. And country does the opposite of jazz. It plays the most simple of both. It plays pentatonic scales and triads. That's basically the gist of Western music and the difference in the genres, as I see it, and as I pointed out. All right, so that's a cool little lesson. Note those things. Note the voice leading of chords. That the triads, the seventh chords, what song is that? By Led Zeppelin. Misty Mountain Hop. Goofing off now, so obviously I'm not being a very good teacher at the moment. Love you guys. Peace, love, rock and roll.